Welcome to McDonald's. What can I get you today? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. You're here for the crypto content. You caught me working my shift. I'm gonna have to ask the manager if he can let me take 5 minutes off to tell you where Ethereum could go this cycle. Could it go to $1,000, $2,000, $3,000? Hopefully it doesn't go to $1,000. That'll be a shocker if it's actually chopped out now. This is Ethereum's price chart. Here, friends, we're going above the wedge. I've got a cracker episode for you coming here today. I'm going to show you now just some basic Fibonacci's, friends. Fibonacci's, they repeat all over the universe, all of our cells, just everything in life just has fibs, right? Everything in crypto as well, they seem to go to these fib extensions. You just don't know which one, okay? So it's not like it's a magic code or anything because you just don't know how high you're going to go, right? Are you going to go, like, friends, there's different levels of high. You know, you get a little bit of dopamine hit when you look at the sun. You get like 30 units of dopamine. Okay, so you're like, yeah, it's okay. Then there's like getting a nicotine high. Maybe that's like 60 units. When you have chocolate, that's like 100 units of dopamine. So you're getting a bit high off dopamine. You know what I mean? Then you go to meth. Meth off the charts. Chocolate's about 100. Having fornication relations with another human being, I think it's like 200. Meth's like 2,000. Okay, hopefully the meth turns into Ethereum for us. Okay, so there's different levels of getting high here, just like there are different levels of fibs. So the next level that we want to conquer is 7,300. Okay, what you do is you just draw a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom and you crank it up here. If you want to know what we did in the last cycle, if you draw a fib from Ethereum from the bottom to the top to the bottom, we actually got to between the second and the third fib. You see that? This is the third one from the previous one. So if we repeated that, right, because it's been a very, very long time, this is one case you can make for us doing the same gains as last cycle is because we've taken longer. So you remember that stock market saying I always tell you, the longer the base, the higher the pump into space? Well, that's because a lot of weak hands, they capitulate on time. Even if they're whales, they just sell off time. And when the price is low, to get their $10,000 for the month or $100,000 for the month, they have to sell exponentially more amounts of coins at the bottom. That's why if something stays at a very, very low price for a long time, everybody who wants to sell, they've got to sell a large quantity into strong hands pretty much, and then eventually get the pop-up. So that's why I'm going to show you now the meth price. Meth is rising, friends. Ask your local dealer who deals you, right? Local dealer exchange. That's what I'm talking about. You might want to stock up. Now, Ethereum going, if it went to between the second and the third, it would be around here. It would be $14,000 for meth. Remember, Ethereum at 8,300, that's about 1 trillion market cap. And here is about 2 trillion. So I think it would be nice if it goes to 1 trillion, comes out and just bursts up here. That'd be really, really good, okay? So let me know what you think. Where do you think meth is going to stop at, friends? I know, look, deep down, I know we're definitely going here in my mind. I just don't know what we're going to do after that point. Are we going to 7,300, come back down, bear market? That'll be horrific. Or is it going to go up here, bull flag, and then it bursts up here? Pop. Is that going to happen? Or are we going to go to 11 and everyone thinks it's going to keep going up to 15, but we come back down? So as you can see, there are many traps that can form along the way. That's what happens when you're in a third cycle curse. What I'm now going to show you, friends, going to be a special episode. I've got answers here for you. So I watched this long discussion between these two, I guess you could say Ethereum Maxis. On the right, you have Sassal, Anthony Sassano, and on the left, you have, of course, crowd favorite, Davey Soy Hoffman. Davey Soy Hoffman from Bankless. Okay, now, it's a very nice discussion. So basically, I'm going to show you their talking and stuff, and they go back and forth, decentralization, because Davey, he capitulated at the bottom of Ethereum. He's like, man, we got to do things differently. And Ethereum in a Soylana, they got a cult and whatever out here. He had a bit of soy, you know what I mean? Like when soy's your middle name, I don't blame him. You know what I mean? Like when it's your being, Look, all I'm just saying is, I want to see your blood test results, sir. Because if I see S for soy, we're gonna have to have a discussion. Now, I'm gonna give you the answer before we even go through it. Okay, I'm gonna give you the juice first. They ask a lot of questions and they have a lot of talks here. And friends, they drop the N-word so many times here. My gosh, the racism in this video from the N-word dropped off the charts. We all know the N-word. Now, I'm going to be brazen. I'm just going to go say it. The N-word is narrative. Right? You know, on this channel, friends, the narrative word, that is the N word, right? Because the narrative in crypto is Fugazi. Yeah. So what happens is candle moves with the prices. And then what people do is we attach a story to why the demand or supply move that way. We attach a story. And then people like say, oh, you know, it's obviously because, you know, the narrative of this or the narrative of that. Oh, it's the SEC or up and down stuff. But what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you. You've been watching my channel, friends. You are very, very familiar with this. You're very familiar with the business cycle. Now, of course, friends, I'm going to have to ask my manager, because remember, I do work at McDonald's, for another bit of an extension, because it's going to be more than 5 minutes, so someone's going to have to cover me in drive-through. Now, in this video of theirs, it's pretty much it's literally 2 hours of them going back and forth, and they can't basically come to they don't know the answer to, like, why did Ethereum go down? You know, and everyone's got their own theories. You know, why did it go down so bad? Why did ETH-BTC ratio go down? Why did it get absolutely cucked the way it got cucked? You know, and then, you know, there's all these explanations. Now, I'll give you the explanation, okay? Because I'm here 18 hours a day while you guys are taking your breaks, while you guys are taking holidays. I'm here literally 18 hours a day, made 5,400 videos like a freak, okay? Because those customers in drive-through aren't going to serve themselves, okay? So if I show you the business cycle, you know the answer, right? It's written up here. Sommi's guiding forces of crypto. And these are 2 fart emojis, okay? So Bitcoin is statistically special, okay? Forget the logo, forget Satoshi, forget it being the Bible of crypto, the first thing, forget it, okay? Based off the data, some say data, Bitcoin is statistically special. Why? Because it has an 89% correlation to global M2 liquidity. So pretty much what happens is, out there in the world, so you and I, friends, we're not imposing our will on the market, okay? It's just an observation. It doesn't last forever. Who knows how long it's going to last for? I'm just telling you, when they print money, they turn on the money print, just when they turn it on, it doesn't take long for those currency units to make their way into Bitcoin, okay? It doesn't take long, like 3 months, okay? That is statistically special because that's been running for like 15 years. 89% correlation if you check the 1 to 3 month correlations, all right? That's what actually makes Bitcoin special. Ethereum is not statistically special like Bitcoin. It's statistically special in a different way, but it's not like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Bitcoin, okay? Gold is also statistically special. Gold leads that money printer, okay? But gold growth rate is lower. Gold is an average growth rate of about 6% over the past like 50 years per year, 6% per year. However, in the past 10 years, gold's growth rate is 10% compounded. Why? Because they've been printing a crap load of money. That includes, you know, all the money supply stuff they've did from zombie virus. So I've written it here, right? Altcoins and Ethereum follow the business cycle, okay? So remember, this 2-hour discussion, I'll show you some clippets later on, but I'm giving you the answers first. It's like, oh, why did I do this or why did I do that? And they go back and forth or whatever. It's got nothing to do with the narrative, bro. It's got nothing, okay? The truth is, statistically, by the market, okay? I'm not talking about one person, friends. I'm not talking about what this person thinks about Gary Gensler. Oh, go speak to these 2 people. I'm talking to you. Everyone, as a collective, this is what their price action says. Their price action says Ethereum's an altcoin and it follows the business cycle. All right. Now, and just like everybody else, no one actually knows about the business cycle. Right. I've taught everyone about it. Yeah. And Raoul Powell showed everyone about it as well. So the business cycle, friends, and altcoins correlate, which no one in crypto has actually figured out yet, which is amazing to me. That's how it tells me this is like, we're still early. Yeah. No one's actually figured that out yet. They'll probably figure it out at the top, by the way. All right. So Bitcoin, friends, whenever they print money, like so, the yellow line is the global M2. Okay, when they print money, now it's not perfect, but when they print money, Bitcoin and the money supply, they move up and down together, pretty much. Not perfect, like, yeah, disconnects in bull markets, but like, yeah, it's pretty much, they have a nice 89% correlation, okay? So how the business cycle works is, if we go back to that business ISM, it's literally the cheat code, okay? Remember, business ISM, what is it? It's just manufacturers in America telling you whether they are expanding or contracting their spending, all right? So are they hiring more workers? Are they buying more suppliers, hair shampoo? Are they buying more squeaky chairs for the employees? Or are they contracting? Okay, above 50 is expanding. The yellow is the 50 line. 52 is like this magical alt season line that I've drawn. So are they expanding or are they contracting? Now we have 100 years of this data. It's a sine wave, up and down, up and down, up and down, okay? Bitcoin was actually birthed here. You get it? So I've shown you, right? When we start contracting, yes, what happens is the government, they start their silent money printers. Okay, what happened here, friends? What happened when business ISM went down here? Remember Silverbank, whatever it was, Silvergate, whatever the hell they were called? Because business ISM went down here, remember the banks collapsed, USDC depegged? Yes, what happened was the Fed did a stealth QE. They bought out like that, buy that trucking dip, BTFP, whatever program, and they start silent QE here. They start it very slow just to keep things running. They keep printing money slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly. And what happens statistically, this is from the stats past 15 years, okay? Bitcoin goes up with it. Eventually, though, we hit enough dumping and we're ready to go up. So something in the economy comes out to inspire the future. Hopefully it's AI in this part of the cycle. And eventually we go up and guess what happens? You know this money printing? They don't need to print as much money anymore. Why? It's because people are on their feet enough and they're feeling that confident that the positive flywheel starts. Yes, in the economy, in the world, people just start borrowing more, spending more, they buy a second car, it starts. They're feeling confident about the future, yeah? And what we've actually shown is that the business ISM correlates with ETH BTC as well. The actual ETH BTC ratio. And if you actually put altcoins, friends, there's another chart I found, Raoul Powell posted it. They posted, instead of like the actual full charts, they sorted it by monthly percentages. And it's literally up and down together, you know? ISM's ticking up, we're ticking up. ISM's having a down period, we're ticking down. Like it's literally altcoins correlate to that. So when you see this chart, which obviously is the ETH BTC ratio, I'll show you now. When you see it going down, they want to know, this is what killed everybody, okay? Why did ETH BTC, it was so strong in the freaking bear market, and then when we started the bull, this thing went down. Narratives are thrown out. They go, oh, Marco Salo, turbo leverage, Ethereum, soy, not scaling, L1, L2, it's all fugazi. It's all fugazi, okay? The truth is that Ethereum was in its third cycle curse. Another phenomena, which might be new to people out here, I went and I found out, okay, every coin in their third cycle has a curse. Every coin. The only one that didn't was Doge. All right, so literally very high odds. If you're in a third cycle, very high odds you're in a cursed coin. I don't know why, it's just the third one, okay? And I don't know why. I made a video on it and it was funny. After I made my video, GCR made a post kind of about it, kind of shouted me out. This is back in beginning of 2023, the actual GCR, because there was an economist, basically they started this in the 70s. This economist realized in all speculative stocks and bubbles, the first cycles, the unicorn cycle, a lot of money's made, a lot of money's lost. In the second one, it's diminished, but there's enough for one pump there, okay? The second cycle's good as well, but it's not as amazing as the first. The third cycle, total curse, because the market learns what's high and what's low in it, and you don't get as much retailer euphoria, whatever it is, that into it, okay? Ethereum's in its third cycle, okay? By the way, last cycle, Bitcoin was in its third cycle, yeah? And so was XRP pretty much, and they were both cursed last cycle. Now they're in their fourth, and they're actually doing really well, right? Bitcoin ran early, XRP ran early. Now, it's not a hard and fast formula, but it just gives you an idea. Ethereum, third cycle cursed. So what brought this down? I've shown you now. It was the business cycle, which stayed down for 32 months in a row. The worst in history, literally ever, friends. We've never had business ISM be below 52 for 32 months in a row. Literally as far as back as the data goes, okay? We've had periods where it was below 52 for, the worst was 42 months, and it was in 1980. You can actually go back. I think I've shown it here. If you go back to 1980, there was this period here where basically we got cucked and we didn't recover. Here we go, 42 months. But look at this. It had a spike up here to 57 and it was volatile. So it goes up and it comes back down. But still, this would have been like a mini alt season thing. We never got this part, okay? So if you just look at this, this was 42 months. 42 months. So if you want to know the absolute worst case, that could be it. By the way, this was when Fed put up the interest rates. This was Paul Volcker. He put up the interest rates to freaking 17% or whatever. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of sad, right? He put up the rates to 17%, and you know we're on that ballpark. But that's the debt back then. The debt to GDP was only 35% of the US economy. Now the debt to GDP is 120. So we have 4 times more debt. So actually, you know our 4% interest rates that we have right now, it's like 16% back in the 1980s. So yeah, we've been absolutely brutalized for the business cycle so far. So I've given you the answer right now. You want to know why did Ethereum get cucked and do that? It went like that. That's it. Now you might say, wait, Sommi, but you said altcoins follow the business cycle, but Solana went up. You're like, huh? Solana went up. Let me give you the full stats, okay? There were 500 coins from last cycle, all right? 500 coins. 500 coins from 2021 to track, okay? Only 1% of them, 5 coins, actually did well in 2024, right? I know them off by heart. Solana, Binance, Fetch, right? FLOKI, and you have Injective, INJ. I know them off by heart. 5 out of 500, 1%. Solana was one of them. So what happens is, because if you're in Ethereum Maxi, you get cucked and you see Solana people poking at you, right? But because like you're in the main spotlight, because you feel it hurts when you're like second place trying to come first, right? Now this is where it gets even more rough. Out of all these 5, only Solana and Binance have held near their highs since last year. Fetch got wrecked. FLOKI got wrecked. Injective got wrecked. Injective dropped 88% from the peak last year. So these things went and broke their high or touched their high, but they've actually been wrecked. So sad. Think about that. Man, that's 2 out of 500 coins. That's wild. It's kind of funny, you might say, but Sommi, why isn't Binance, why aren't they in the spotlight if it's Solana? It's because Binance, friends, they're very like, you know, Asian, Oriental, yummy pad thai culture is like, they're not as like, you know, forcefully attacking, I guess, as Solana, which is like a representation of, you know, Americanized, let's make a big show out of stuff here. It's just a different culture that's pretty much holding the coin. Even though they're the same market caps, they're roughly the same market caps, about 100 billion or whatever it is right now as well. Now, friends, you have all the answers. So you say, oh, wow. So Bitcoin follows global M2. Altcoins, including Ethereum, follow the business cycle. Now, I'll show you some clips now we're going to go through, but you got to remember from these two, they were really hoping, like the rest of us, that Ethereum, because it's doing all these amazing things, that it's going to be next to Bitcoin and it can share in the global M2, right? Unfortunately, look, that can happen in the future. It didn't happen this time. Okay, that's it. Business ISM goes down, Ethereum wrecked. Sorry for us. You know, they start printing money, Bitcoin recovers. You know, it's only now Ethereum's starting to turn around. So I'll let you have a listen a little bit. Let's go.
You are right. Like, I think that there is a good argument that Bitcoin's a special snowflake, and it's a rational argument, and it comes back to, and so like I would like to bring that home into Ethereum and be like, okay, this is the argument that we now have to like objectively, materially, rationally tear down. And the reason why it's still standing today, why people are believing it today, is because our current arguments aren't good enough to do the job. And so like, I think if it would be harder for me to go out and be in the whole Bitcoin is a special snowflake camp if the actual arguments that the Ethereum community are like chanting were better. But I actually don't think they're as good enough, which is why I think there's some like frustrations. Like, here, the Ethereum community is like, here are our arguments. David, why don't you believe them? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I understand them, but like, they're still not enough. They're not enough for the current needs of the time.
Have you noticed, friends, because they're not charts dudes, you know, Ethereum guys, like they actually build stuff. Like, we're just like, charge, candles, dopamine, green candle. Like, friends, I literally have a green candle right here. This is soy-free beeswax candle, okay? Friends, you know, in Ethereum community, they call me a price maxi, and they mean it in a derogatory manner. Yeah. And I said, if I was a price Maxi, why was I making 18 hours a day of video content for everyone while Ethereum was capitulating below 1400 and you were all missing? If I was really a price Maxi, right? Seems like price Maxi is not a derogatory term. I think everyone's a price Maxi of sorts. Everyone's getting a dopamine kick out of it. But if you notice, friends, in their conversation, right, eventually they're talking about, we're talking about the arguments. Ethereum community didn't sell the argument, do this or do that. No, man, it's programmed, bro. It was programmed. You've been in this game long enough. I've been in markets, dude. I've seen it all. Okay, I've been trading. My gosh, it's too long. Okay, but I've been for 14 years. My gosh. Okay, it's not the arguments, bro. It's not the arguments, not the narrative. It's the business cycle. So effectively, what's happened is Ethereum community and Vitalik, they planned the layer 2 stuff, assuming 2021 cycles demand temporally, which is time cycle wise, would repeat. We are now compared to the past, we are 16 months overdue compared to 2021. Actually, you want to check it out. It's actually worse than that. If we check out 2021, look at this, friends, cycle. We were only contracting business ISM badly for 10 months. So actually, we are 22 months behind. Do you know how long 22 months is, friends? Longer than 21. 22 months. Almost 2 years. Literally just under 2 years extra. So so basically they were planning for almost last cycle, roughly around that time. What does that really mean? What does planning mean? It means they're helping out the layer 2s. They're catering to layer 2s because they're expecting all this demand. Because they're like, oh, well, we only had 10 months last time and then everything started going up. But then look where 10 months hits for us, friends. 10 months hits, let me show you. August 2023. August 2023 hit. And look at that. They were expecting, I guess, by, just a few more months and everything should go up like the rest of us. Unfortunately, it's still farty poopy. You see this? This is a freaking monthly chart, dude. And it's still going. Do you get it? Let's continue with some more clips. Let's continue. Yeah.
Launching went live the same time blobs did. So you're drawing a kind of conclusion.
So he's talking about PumpFun here, friends. I'll just show you.
Went live the same time.
So let's actually show it. He's talking about PumpFun launching with the layer 2 update.
But not the fear of new stuff. I think that was a red herring that people kind of didn't realize, because a lot of people, as I said, don't realize that Meme Coin Mania with Pump.Fun launching went live the same time blobs did. So you're drawing a kind of conclusion based on maybe one side of the story, when if you look at the other one, I think that's more plausible as a scenario there as to why ETH at least lost monetary premium and store value premium, and now it's regained it because we have that macro institutional bid. ETF flows at record highs, treasury companies, so on and so forth. We haven't captured the meme coins on Ethereum, but that's not the current meta. I think that, there is no current crypto native meta right now. I think there is a meta outside of that, like, institutions building their own L2s, reward assets, stable coins. Ethereum has captured all of that, which is great. But it remains to be seen if Ethereum captures the crypto native meta, the next one that comes along, and if that even matters for Ethereum now, because Ethereum is more of a, institutional grade thing. So yeah, a lot to kind of go through there, but yeah.
So you notice so what he's talking about last year, so March 2024, was actually the peak of the little business ISM last year. I'll show you. This is where we all thought Ethereum was going to break 4K and do well, and it stopped and it dumped. PumpFun actually gets popular here, and PumpFun continues. You get it? So that basically said, but here's the thing, friends, we all tend to do this, right? They're hyper focusing on Solana because I just showed you, dude, there were 500 coins. Yeah. In an alternate universe, okay, which is probably bubbled with us right now, it was Phantom Chain that had the season, right? In another alternative universe, XRP Chain had a season. You know what I mean? Pulse Chain had the season. In one of these alternative universe, it's just in our one, Solana was it, So you got to appreciate that more of these, they're more chaotic and random than you think. I just showed you there were 500 coins, friends. Literally 500 coins. I named for you. You can count them on less than 3 hands. Okay, 1 hand. I knew the 5 coins. I know all of their charts. Like, I'll just show you. We'll go through them here, right? Look at this. This is BNB. See, look at this BNB, friends, in 2024. Look at BNB. BNB did that. I'll show you as well. Fetch. If you go look at Fetch. Look at this. I know he's off by heart. Look at this. Fetch literally went turbo nuclear. March 2024. Look when it peaked, dude. Man, from the bottom, friends, Fetch did a 55x. And look, it dropped down 90%. So remember, this wasn't the... So BNB was one of the ones that held with Solana, and the other 3 didn't. Fetch wasn't one of them. Let me show you FLOKI, okay? Not to be confused with FLOLOK, FLOKI. Look at this, friends. FLOKI from the bottom dropped 99%. Look at it. It literally dropped... Look how confusing this stuff is, friends. It dropped 99%, and then it recovered up to the top, 62x, and then it went down and dropped 87%. Right? And remember, I told you Injective was the last coin here. Injective, okay? Injective from the bottom pumped 49x, and then look what it did. Bang, 87%. Now let me show you Soy. Solana pumped a whopping 33x, and look all it dropped, 68%. And look where it is now. It's only 37% off. So Solana and BNB, only coins that did well, where they're describing what's happened in that season. And I've done it's cherry picked, bro. It's just that when you see some people holding Solana, they're saying, I've got millions, I'm amazing. Yes, you're all my followers, and you're gonna suck the toes and the toe jam from the LA Vape Cabal. But you gotta understand, friends, in this, you know, history's repeating. Do you know back when Ethereum had DeFi season in 2020, right, where we were here, friends, every single person was talking about right here. Aave, Chainlink, Uniswap, Curve, everything DeFi. And guess what happened? They did not participate in the cycle ahead. All right, what came next? So here, friends, I've done this actually for you. Look at this. In DeFi season, look at all the narratives. DeFi, Aave, Uniswap, real utility, borrowing, spending, loans, perps, TradFi, yield. And they're talking about what's coming next year, 2021, right? Tokenizing stocks, securitization, Wall Street's going to come for the yield. The adoption is here. It's all amazing, okay? So that's not what happened, though. We all got cucked. It's just like Solana, where everybody who hyper-focused on what made Ethereum successful here, you did not participate in the actual bull market, which confused the shit out of me and everybody else and disappointed us. We're like, bro, we got the adoption. We got the yield. It makes so much sense. There's 0% yield out there in the world. TradFi wants to come earn yield. Crypto has no use case. Friends, Vitalik got emotional, almost cried with happiness. Okay? And aliens don't cry. It's forceful cry. Okay? I don't even think they have tear ducts. Okay? So Vitalik's like, yes. Telekinetically, right? He says, finally, Ethereum has a proper use case. DeFi. We can show the Bitcoin maxis we can do something. And what was funny was the abomination that came next. Instead, what happened in 2021, people bought dog coins, JPEGs, gaming Ponzi's, Metaverse, DeFi 2.0 Ponzi yield like Hex and Limpers DAO, random layer 1 chains that just went up even though they had 2 users, and Cardano hit 100 billion market cap. It had no smart contracts. You're like, what? What happened to TradFi and the yield? It was all fugazi, bro. You already spent your time units at the top. You understand? You maximized your attention. That's why you learn in crypto and these market effects. That's why, friends, I went through this, okay? Now, I'm not some sort of genius. I went through it. And in the bear market, what people say is, what they do is they point fingers. They go, oh, that guy scammed me, and this thing's a scam, and I just got to avoid you next time and I win. So I'm going to go join the winners, okay? That's the conclusion they do. I don't go do that, okay? I do something different. I'm here to mog all the non-believers. And what I did in the bear market is I spent 18 hours a day again, some say 19, and I went down to the fundamentals. I sniffed so many chairs. I needed to find the answer. I go, tell me what is actually giving crypto value. What lessons do I need to ask myself back in 2020 to win in 2021? What were the questions? People ask themselves the wrong questions. They say, what coin did I need to buy? They go, I needed to think about Doge and think like a retardio. I needed to do that. Wrong questions to ask. It's a new coin every time. It's a new cycle every time. It's a new narrative every time. You're not going to get it. The questions you have to ask yourself that I concluded was, if you're here, 2020, you got to ask yourself, what haven't I seen before? If you start asking yourself, what haven't I seen before? And what has signs of passionate believers, meme cult religion, you are closer to the answer than people who are just like, oh, I want to know what the coin is. Okay? That's what I did. So I'm going to let Sassal and Davey continue in the discussions, but that's what I went and found the answer. And yeah, see, why it hurts for them is they really wanted Ethereum's monetary premium to attach itself to Bitcoin. We all wanted it, bro. Like, you were strong in the bear market. Ethereum was freaking strong in the bear market, and then this bull started and you got freaking cucked. What does that prove to you? The business cycle matters most, bro. Which I'm just going to show you again, okay? Now you know Ethereum's an altcoin, okay? And they don't like saying that, but it's true. It's true. Hey, don't worry, bro. We're going to fly. It's crime season, baby. Ethereum is an altcoin. You're going to see Bitcoin dominance fall off a cliff here. Trust me, friends. During these times, you're like, oh, man, business cycle sucks. I want Bitcoin. Up here, though, no one wanted Bitcoin, bro. Here, JPEGs are flying. And here, Ethereum is flying. You see? So many people believe this is never going to happen. Okay, bro, we'll see. We'll see. Let me show you more of the clips. In this next segment, they're going to talk about some dude named Resnick. There was a guy, he was in Ethereum, but he kept talking about how amazing Solana is, and he just took his project and ended up leaving. So let's continue.
I said we need to scale to layer 1.
Yeah. And I think the reason why people didn't really kind of, assume your assumption, so to speak, is because you were at the same time you were platforming people like Max Resnick, for example, who wanted to make Ethereum basically Solana. I mean, he went to Solana because that more vibes with what he wants to do. I remember saying, like, whenever he was causing drama, like last year, I said, why is this guy even in Ethereum? Like, he obviously wants to work on Solana, so go work on Solana. And sure enough, he did. But I think that's why it got lost for a lot of people with you, is that you were saying these things and then you were expecting people to understand that you were making, the assumption or qualifying these statements by saying, yes, I still believe that we should preserve decentralization, all that stuff.
So it's cute. What they're arguing about is this actually happened, friends. So Davey saw Hoffman in the shout out to you, Davey, if you're listening, bro. Just like that's your de facto name, bro. It's been your name for a year. It just rolls off the tongue now. So Davey was in Sassal's Discord. And Davey made a post. He says, we should scale the L1. And a lot of the Ethereum maxis got upset. They go, how dare you say we compromise decentralization for the L1? How dare you support Solana? Don't you dare say your name in here. That's literally exactly what happened. And they went, the pitchfork emojis came out. All right? And so Davey had to clarify. He goes, no, preserve it. We try to do both. And see, friends, you see, they're going around in circles, bro. You're complaining about something that's outside of your control. So effectively what's happened is the business cycle represents demand out there. When demand is low, prices are down, but we can't just sit there as humans and go, oh, I guess it's just shit because it's crap, whatever it is. We don't say that. We say it's bad because of this and it's bad because of that and I have to change and I have to improve. It's a tough game, isn't it? So that's actually what they actually went through, right? So all this narrative talk back and forth, they pretty much go like this for 2 hours, friends. Talking about, what we could have done, monetary premium, what do we got to do? ETH BTC keeps going down and stuff out here. So nothing's actually changed, but friends, Ethereum hasn't changed. And what they're saying is, oh, but Tom Lee believes in us now. Right? So basically what I'm telling you boys, it's not Tom Lee, bro. It's Tom Lee is front-running the business cycle going up. Okay? Now, I'm not saying he looks at this ISM and goes, oh, it's about to tick up and do that. It doesn't work like that. Okay? I'm telling you, we're on this linear time stream, this stream of time. And these events come out and they play out like a movie, okay? It's a lot of UFO for you watching, you've been doing, right? So it plays out like a movie and you just see these characters appear, right? Up here you had JPEGs and then Ty Lopez comes literally here and then everything goes to zero, and then FTX collapses here, another part of the story, and then we go up, and here we have the fake out, come back down. Now he comes calmly. He calmly comes out buying Ethereum. They're like, oh, we have an institutional bid. What I'm telling you is the characters were going to insert someone like Tom Lee from the start. It's inevitable. The question is when. That's the killer. All right? When moon. No one knows. We did not know it was going to be 32 months, bro, before you could like freaking stop drowning, you know, because last time it was 10. And the cycle before that, it was only 12. And the first crypto cycle was only 6. You see that? So I thought we were going to do about 12 in our one. Look what we did, 32. Do you see? So I know this is esoteric. Pretty much it means like you only see this, bro. I've been looking at this for 15 years, dude. You know, not just crypto. I mean like markets and cycles and how they work and up and down and looking for the highest edge and doing all these. Okay, I mean 18 hours a day. Okay, so after seeing all this, you know your conclusions, right? Bitcoin is statistically special. Yeah, but altcoins are an extension of the business cycle. Yeah. So what everyone's doing is they're hyper focusing on this. They've got so much PTSD from this part where Bitcoin was king. Forget it, man. That's the past. You can't change the past. We've got to look for the future. And we have a president who's big on crime season. I'm saying, you know it's true. It's a conspiracy supercycle, meme coin supercycle, stablecoin supercycle, alien disclosure supercycle. It's a nipple pegging supercycle. It's all happening, man. So instead of looking at the Bitcoin dominance here, I'm looking at the altcoin potential up here, all right? That's what things, friends. So see, everyone's focusing on like, man, we really want to be defensive. So pretty much what's actually happening is, friends, when you own a coin, you want it to do everything. It can't. It can't, Habibi. Okay? Bitcoiners, they're so happy that they had Bitcoin Maxis, right? That their portfolio was defensive and strong in the past 4 years. They're so happy. But what's going to happen next is they're going to be pissed off that Bitcoin can't run in the business cycle. They will be pissed off. You will see them. Okay, they're going to disappear. Bitcoin dominance is going to go down. They're going to get betrayed by these Bitcoin treasury companies. They're going to rotate some of their BTC into ETH. It's playing out the cycle over again, okay? And what you just saw from Davey and Sassal's is they really wanted Ethereum to be defensive. And it looked like it had the chance in 2022. It held up well in the bear market. Ultimate disappointment, though. Look, here's the thing. You can't have the best of both worlds. You can't. You can't be the super fast runner in a bull and then the defensive thing in the bear. There's a sacrifice you have to make. So, meth, right? It gets you pretty high. Right? Not that I would know. It gets you pretty high, but I guess there's really aggressive come downs, you know? So that's it. There's a yin and yang, you know? So here's the thing. You're like, okay, Sommi, but you say to me, Sommi, I'm not a Bitcoin Maxi. I'm not an Ethereum Maxi. What do I do? Firstly, I don't know what to do because you've been holding up the McDonald's drive-through lane for 35 minutes and everybody is beeping their cars right now. But before you go, I'm just going to tell you, in crypto, I guess you can't go wrong in the past 15 years with an approach like the third Bitcoin, the third stable coins, the third altcoins. You can't go wrong with that type of basic approach. Okay? And if you're taking profit in a bull, statistically, what worked every time, so you win no matter what, is you take profit half into Bitcoin, half into stable coins. That's it. All right. I would love to tell you And I'd love to tell myself that Ethereum is part of that camp, you know? And hopefully it is. Hopefully it does run early next cycle, but it's not. It's not, okay? So Ethereum seems to be the beta play for people who, they don't want to buy into micro strategies, turbo leverage, long BTC stuff. They want to get into something else, you know? So there you go, friends. And you got to remember what's actually happening is that deep down, it's Sassal's and Davey Soy Hoffman, who you just saw. You know, they were buying Ethereum at $100, right? They're buying it at $100. And I'll show you now, right here. Yeah, they're buying it here. Buying at $100, they're going in. And they saw it. They've seen Ethereum be the fast kid on the block, super fast, rocket, you know, outperforms Bitcoin. But now they're seeing it slow down. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see your baby, right, do amazing things and like, oh crap, we're actually diminishing just like that, right? But that's why it's also tough because when you diminish, you want to be the defensive thing. You're like, okay, we won't go up as much, but at least we hold up our value. But you didn't even do that, right? So you're like, damn it, only Bitcoin can do that. Bitcoin's slowing down, but it holds up its value, right? So you have to see everyone's wrestling. So it's funny, man. That's why if you commit to one thing, you ultimately get wrecked because you will never change with anything, right? Now, you don't have to change anything now, but you know this in the future, right? You've learned a lot. Now, please proceed to the next window. That'll be $12.95. Like, subscribe, belly button, all. Catch you soon.